continues its coverage of Campaign 76. Tonight, the first session of the Democratic National Convention from Madison Square Garden in New York. This portion is sponsored by Merrill Lynch. Merrill Lynch is bullish on America. Here again is Walter Cronkite.
Bill Moyers and Eric Sevareid have been looking over this somewhat, in fact, very inattentive crowd out there on the floor. Eric?
It's his line. He had worked terribly hard on that alliterative line. He'd been thinking of Roosevelt's famous Martin, Barton, and Fish speech, which was funny and convulsed the country. But Kissinger's Simon, Morton, and Butts, which he tried 4 times, just didn't come across. They finally laughed a little, just, I think, out of sympathy with the poor fellow. But this crowd is like so many, all convention crowds. It sort of its tone and its appearance, its temper reflects the underlying political and national situation, I think. It strikes me, Bill, as a very prosperous-looking crowd, well-dressed, well-mannered. They look almost like Republicans and almost act like Republicans, at least up to this point. And they're not paying much attention to these preliminary bouts like any Madison Square Garden fight crowd. But you were saying something a moment ago to me, Bill, about what you call political groupies. Yes, and I wish you'd elaborate on this.
Well, there's always around any convention, Eric, people who really don't have any substantive role to play, but they're there because it's a fascinating place to be. I look over and see, sitting above the Maryland delegation, the Democrats' version of John Wayne, Lorne Greene, my favorite cowboy. There's Lou Wasserman of MCA, one of the big financial contributors to the party. You look down and see in the Missouri delegation, one of the most colorful members of Congressman, Bill Hungate. You may remember him from the impeachment hearings. He wrote a little ditty called Down by the Watergate. You could dial a number in Washington and hear him sing it. There are a lot of Bella hats. In fact, from up here, Eric, it's like looking down from Mount Ariat on Noah's Ark. There's about 2 of everything out there.
Well, there are 2 women with hats, not just Bella Abzug. I thought she was going to be winner take all, but I found another one, sort of salmon-colored hat.
You see down in that Colorado delegation, there's a big fellow with a large beard and a huge straw hat on.
There's always one something like that. I had wondered about the seats way up at the top, the dark green row of seats, the general public, almost empty, about a third full, and then those light green chairs in that section with the same level as Peter Duchin's orchestra. That's for honored guests.
Well, it's
not that they're out of guests or out of honor. The fact apparently is that they can't see anything from over there, either from the public bleacher or the honored guest section. So they're all over here on this side. The screens and the podium just simply block them off. All they can see, all that crowd can see, is this crowd over here. And that's why it gives a semi-empty appearance, but they're pretty thick back here.
They look like they're having a good time, though, don't they? They're not listening to the speeches.
They do. This was Governor Hugh Carey's first real appearance, I think, before the country on television in any sustained way. Welcoming speeches never do much, except that great one, Adlai Stevenson, 52, practically guaranteed his nomination. But I think maybe one of the immortal lines of tonight, if there have been any, or one that'll be commented about a lot, was Mayor Beam saying that this affair was going to relight the torch of morality for the United States. And I can't think of any section of any city in America that could stand a torch of morality better. Just a few blocks away, the prostitutes are holding what they call a loitering.
You call them Republicans. You say they look like Republicans. To me, Eric, they remind me of a lot of repentant sinners waiting to be baptized.
Well, that's because you're a Baptist. You know the look. You know the look.
In my hometown of Dallas, Texas.
What other groupies have we got?
Well, you've got some of the political types who go from campaign to campaign. There's my old friend, colleague, Frank Mankiewicz. Remember, he was behind McGovern, McGovern's campaign manager. There's Bob Eckhart, the scholarly congressman from Texas with his white suit and bow tie on. It's
and Eichhardt too, isn't the oil man, the lobby man here?
Oh yes, there's I saw
a lot
of interest groups represented here and up in the balconies, and that's one thing you'll hear a lot of speeches tonight about how you've got to overcome the interest groups, but you'll find that this party has its share of them.
Of course, you always see Averell Harriman, but we haven't spotted him yet. I don't know if he's here. The one you thought was Harriman was not him. In fact, 4 years ago in Miami, I was mistaken for Averell Harriman. I walked over to him, told him that, and he was not amused. I wasn't very much either because he's 20 years older.
That's what I say. You don't look 81, Eric.
I think we throw this back to Walter Cronkite.